I didn't think I'd be doing another Riyadh Comedy Festival video. However, I found out about Vision 2030. Vision 2030 is the Saudi government's plan for the whole world, seeing Saudi Arabia in a different light. And what that means is they want the world to like them and see them differently, except that they don't want to change anything about the country at all. So you've heard of Agenda 2030. Parts of Agenda 2030 have to do with, BlackRock, Blackstone, Vanguard saying, in the future own nothing and love it. We have to force behaviors. And then what is BlackRock doing? They're buying up the country. They're buying up real estate. And they're buying into Bitcoin and more. But it also makes Agenda 2030 also is just like a plan to, we're gonna have universal basic income. It's drastically restructuring the way that our lives are. And then Saudi Arabia's part in that plan is Sharia law everywhere, basically. Or how, when I talk about I say it all the time, I've been saying it for years, the wealthy elite whose fortunes shape the fates of nations. Some of these people are Saudi royals. Are they the richest people in the world? They're some of the richest people in the world that we know about. They shoot barium rockets into the sky to make it rain in the desert so that they can have lawns out there. They're so rich they can afford, regular scheduled rockets of barium to shoot up into clouds to have landscaping in the desert. That's rich, right? So we know that they have 740,000 accounted for slaves. You know that there's more. The women, I forget what it's called, but the women have to have themselves covered. Like, I think a lot of them, if not all of them, you can't even see their eyes. Like, they're just supposed to be covered. Ideally, they would want you to not even see women's eyes. And, the only time anyone can see a woman is if you marry her and then you take her out of the box to see. That's what she looks like. I'm taking the clothes off my Barbie doll or whatever. So, Saudi Arabia is hideously oppressed. They execute people. I think they did 250 executions. I know other countries do horrible things, but Saudi Arabia is open about it, and they're like, we're not going to change. Hey, but we want you guys to like us. That's Vision 2030. But when I hear Vision 2030, these are the things they'd like. It's like a goal of how they want to be perceived that's set for 2030. That's 4 years away, 2026 to 2030, okay? So there's this thing called Agenda 2030, and they want the whole world to be changed for that. And there's been a lot of money, a lot of rich people pumped a lot of money. George Soros has pumped a lot of money into Agenda 2030 stuff. You can go look up Agenda 2030. So these comedians that went to the Riyadh Comedy Festival, they saw money and they went for money, and it didn't go over well when they came back home to America. So, some of the guys backpedaled, and some of them doubled down. Some of them just said, hey, I took the money. I think Pete Davidson, who I know like almost nothing about, he said he took the money. Dave Chappelle didn't say much, but he did say, I thought that I could say stuff in Saudi Arabia I couldn't say in America, except that now there's stuff he can probably never talk about because of whatever deal he signed, non-disclosure agreement or whatever. It's online. You can see the agreement that they had to sign, because there's comedians that agreement was given to that refused to sign it. I think it was a Japanese-American comedian. And she's like, here it is. Here's the form. Here's what all these other guys that went to. Here's what Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle and Jeff Ross and all these guys, what they are not allowed to talk about. So you can go read those contracts. But I didn't know about the Vision 2030 because we know. Probably if you're watching this channel, you know about Agenda 2030. And I was like, yes. Like, I have videos that haven't come out yet, but they're queued up. And one of the videos was like, all the stuff that's going on in America with women, I feel like is setting up Sharia law in America, and it's trying to radicalize everybody, or whatever you want to call it, to like want to shut women down, and they don't want to hear about this, you know, crimson wave feminism stuff, or whatever wave of feminism we're at now. So eventually what they're gonna, you know, what they want to do is they want to put young men and some women in the position to just say, we're just going with Sharia law. And there's so much machinations that have been going on to try and get everybody to fight each other, but the end goal is repressive like Saudi Arabia. So they want everybody to like them, but part of Vision 2030 is that they're not going to change anything. They just want to be seen differently. I feel like I said that already. I don't know how long this video has to be to overstate it. I thought I was done talking about the comedy festival. So this one isn't so much about trashing the comedians, and boy, it's not going over well. I've seen a couple of the videos, or Andrew Schulz is making excuses for going over there, and it's all just bullshit, and nobody that likes comedians, that likes any of those guys, is going for it. Nobody's going along with them, and they don't care. Yes, they took the dirty Saudi money, and it is dirty, and you know, they have slaves. I remember seeing slave auctions. Was that Saudi Arabian slave auctions where you could just see the people being sold? You could see this. I'm not sure what part of the world it was, but I think it might have been Saudi Arabia slave auctions. 740,000 people is 740,000 people. And as I've said already in this video, if it's 740,000 accounted for slaves, it's more. A lot of people get locked up over nothing. And it doesn't matter, because the place is ruled by prince and you got to do what they say. So they got comedians from America to come. Why do Saudi Arabian people care about American comedy? It's just to get like the American comedians, which I don't think I said in other videos, were just used for propaganda by the Saudis to say, look over here, and then, you know, get guys to say, you know what, it's not so bad. They had Burger King and Taco Bell. I can't believe the shit that Bill Burr said. It's just disgusting. And he's, you know, like, forget him. Like, whatever creds comedians supposed to have. Like Dave Chappelle's like, I just want to be a cool guy. He's done. He's never again going to be a cool guy. So I'm sorry if I'm just sputtering sentence fragments. Go look into Plandopolis megacities. That's all part of Agenda 2030 stuff. There's also Agenda 2050. There are movies like Ready Player One is set in 2046. And what's the world look like in Ready Player One? Everybody goes to online school. People's friendships are virtual. They're not in the real world with each other. They go to school online. Everybody lives in shipping container shanty towns stacked on top of one another. And the main thing to do is just be on your phone, because there's nothing else that you're allowed to do. You can be on your phone and whatever you're allowed to do with your phone. And that's the world of Ready Player One, which is a book, but then it was turned to a movie, and it was like, I think, the last thing that Steven Spielberg directed. And they were like, why'd you come out of retirement to direct Ready Player One? You don't really do much in movies anymore. He did everything. And he said because he thinks the future will be a lot like the world of Ready Player One, which is, as I said already, everybody lives in shipping containers, and everything's about playing games, and it's about the gamification of life. And there's all kinds of other weird stuff in Ready Player One, the movie. I don't know from the book, because I'm never going to read it. But then there's Blade Runner 2049, which happens a year away from 2050. So there's Agenda 2030, there's Agenda 2050. And, you know, look at if you remember Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, if you ever saw it or even care about it, you wouldn't want to live there. It sucks. People are like, I want to live in Blade Runner, it'd be cool. No, it would suck. And in Blade Runner 2049, nobody even gets to eat real food. How opulent. It's like something only elites get to do. Ryan Gosling is eating jello that looks like piano keys, and the movie opens with Batista, the wrestler, is an artificially made human, and he has a bug farm. Because people don't eat meat, they're eating bugs. So Agenda 2030 and BlackRock and whoever the guy, that bozo that said you will eat some bugs and all this stuff, that's all their plans for a future. Smart cities, I don't think I mentioned. The 15-minute prison L. universal basic income, removing trees from cities and putting algae tanks, which I've already started to do. All this crazy shit just to make our lives miserable. Their predictions about that there'll be no pigeons or birds in the cities or whatever that's about. I mean, that's just some weird, to me that's kind of one of the far out there ones, but I don't know what that's about. Maybe it'll say bird flu this or bird flu that, and like, guess what, we gotta kill all the birds. No birds, no pigeons or something. Pigeons were useful. People used to deliver a message through pigeons. I don't know if that's what that has to do. So it's kind of weird when you thought you were going to hear about a comedy festival. I think a lot of those comedians, yeah, they took the dirty Saudi money, but also I think they were tricked. I don't think maybe some of those comedians understand that they're playing a part in Agenda 2030 and shaping the world. But I think some of them didn't know that, and they just took the money. In time, they're going to realize that they were trying to propagandize, basically bringing Sharia law to the whole world, whether we want it or not. And it's weird because the videos didn't come out yet, but I said I have them queued up. I don't know when they come out, like November maybe, which will be soon. I'm recording this in October, obviously, but I have this video where it has Girls Gone Wild as a thumbnail, and I said the way that things are in America and the propagandizing that's been done to American women, to, you know, the ones that are crazy, and, you know, most people aren't crazy, but the ones that make TikToks and the Manosphere makes videos about, that built his channel, and he has no channel without these women. That's the kind of programming that's leading us to Sharia law, and the kind of programming that's being done to the young man with the Manosphere stuff and the red pill stuff. It's just about bringing in this new wave of, like, what I would call ultra conservatism, where women have, you know, first you thought you had authority over your bodies and you could do whatever you want, not kill my kids and all that stuff, and it's just going to be like nobody has any authority over anything, and, you know, you're just like Sharia law. I just might as well say it like that. Sharia law is not a good thing. They already started doing this shit up in New York. I don't know why I'm pointing like New York. Yeah, New York's over there. But in New York, they have like Sharia police or whatever. Don't they have some kind of shit like that? That was something that started with, or maybe even a little bit before lockdowns, where they had like the weird little police forces to enforce. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not going to talk about that because I don't remember anymore. But I remember thinking that's not good. So, and they also want us to fight each other. They want everybody to fight each other. That's New World Order stuff. A series of small-scale conflicts at all levels, at all times, even within inside ourselves, to be conflicted with inside oneself, and then fighting with everybody else. Men and women can't trust each other. Oh man, I'm working on a documentary on Japan, which is clips of lots of actual documentaries and other videos, and I want to paint like this picture of Japan as patient zero for how they want everybody in the world to behave. And yes, anime is a big part of that. But I had no idea how messed up Japan actually is. It got so much worse. So we're talking about a Vision 2030 with Saudi Arabia, but Japan, like, look into the stuff. I said I'm having a documentary. It comes out when it comes out. But what's been done to Japan, that's part of what our 2030, 2050 future they want. Look at Plandopolis megacities. They really are annihilating Japan into the kind of future they want for all of us. And then people say, isn't Japan cool? I want to go to Japan. They're literally going extinct. And it's so bad with Japan. It's like a whole other video that I could do before the documentary comes out, where I could just talk about all this stuff. I had no idea how nuts and how far gone Japan was. They've been saying, I guess since the 80s, that Japan is 20 years ahead, or maybe it was 80s or 90s, I'm not sure anymore, I'm getting old, that Japan is 20 years ahead of the world in terms of technology, because they have toilets that flush themselves and weird bidets and shit like that. No. Japan is 20 years, if not more, ahead of the world in being socially engineered for technocracy. Forget about the technology stuff. The Japanese people are so programmed that the young people, like Generation Z, they don't want anything. They just want universal basic income. So pushing this like globalization, which is just communism, socialism, Marxism, also would include Sharia law, maybe without the religious connotations, but they're like, Saudi Arabia is one of the wealthy elite whose fortune shaped the fates of nations. Look at what they did to their people. It's horrible. It's not good. Go look into Saudi Arabia and the septic trunks driving around, how they have to live. Look at the conflicts that are happening when they brought immigrants with different, very strongly held religious beliefs, and then they go into a country where those people don't hold those beliefs, and now there's like a bunch of those people. So like, well, they want everybody to be like them. So there's conflicts over in the UK and the Muslims and all that stuff. And I'm not somebody to say like every Muslim people are evil and all this stuff. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we're all being manipulated against each other by the things we believe on, and then they're pitting us against other people. And Saudi Arabia openly has slavery. We know that there's slavery all over the place, and human trafficking and Jeffrey Epstein and all this stuff, and it's all true. But it's just on the table in Saudi Arabia. And for the Saudi government's Vision 2030, they're not going to change any of that. They're like, look, see, it's not so bad. That's what they're doing. I should have just said it like that up front. So they're saying, see, it's not so bad. You're getting that. And your comedians will be able to joke about whatever we tell them to joke about. So they got, I guess what you could say is most of the top comedians. Who am I missing? I mean, I'm sure there's other comedians that criticized them and said, I'm not taking, like Shane Gillis didn't take the money. And then there was other comedians that never would. And, but they rounded up a lot of the top comedians to go to Saudi Arabia. And that's kind of like making a statement. It's like comedy is like a freedom, and then, Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle are just sellouts. I did a whole video just on those two guys where they see the writing on the wall. Dave Chappelle, I used it as a thumbnail in the video that comes out like probably the 27th of October, 27th or 29th of October. And it's got Dave Chappelle, 3 different recent photos of him in dresses, where he makes it look like a t-shirt, but it's a dress, and nobody would wear a t-shirt like that. And it's not a hip-hop statement or anything. Dave Chappelle's wearing dresses because he went in Oprah and he told the whole bullshit lie story. I didn't want to wear the dress. Well, there he is, every one of the premieres of his Netflix specials, and he's wearing a dress. I didn't even use all the different pictures of Dave in a dress that I had. I just put 3 of them together and put the thumbnail on it, put humiliation ritual, but the video's not about, it's really not mostly about Dave Chappelle, but it is about, it's in there. So Dave Chappelle understands where they want to direct our future. Bill Burr has some idea where they want to direct our future, and they're okay with that because they know that the characters they played as American this or that guy, that's dead now. So go to Saudi Arabia, take the money. Hey, I can buy, BlackRock's buying up all the land. How much can you get for like $1 million? How many millions of dollars did Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr get? Saudi Arabia doesn't give a shit about Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle. They're clearly playing pieces in propaganda. Hey, Americans, look at Saudi Arabia. It's not so bad. We have comedians. We had a lesbian comedian come over here. We didn't kill her. She came back home and everything. How about that? Also, Saudi Arabia is the one that has the idea for the smart city NEOM. And there's the AI over there. There's an AI robot, which just looks like some Chuck E. Cheese bullshit called Sophia. Have you seen the Sophia robot stuff where it's probably just a guy like speaking into a microphone and pressing buttons and shit like a robot from movies? But anyway, so I'm told, if I remember correctly, that Sophia has more rights than human Saudi Arabian women have. And it's probably true, because part of using AI, whether it's real or whether they use it as an excuse, that probably is part of our overlord governing system, Gondahar brain they have planned for us. Do you know about the Battle for Gondahar? It's an old Asimov book, novella or whatever, and they had an AI system that controlled everything. They created the perfectly managed system with AI or whatever, and then it broke down, and the world was destroyed. And then, that's and there's blue people like Avatar in it and shit. It's Asimov. He's not a good guy, probably. Also, Asimov is the guy that wrote I, Robot, right? The Will Smith movie with the robots trying to kill people and shit. So yeah, anyway, Agenda 2030 and comedians and Riyadh Comedy Festival. Probably those guys got used. They don't know, like some of those, or maybe even most of those comedians don't understand that they were used to propagandize Saudi. And even if they were like, yes, we're propagandizing that Saudi Arabia is not so bad. And it's some of the excuses that the comedians made for why they went. When the Sharia law, when they try to do that shit in America, they're gonna have that sinking feeling like, oh no, like, what did I do? And then Tim Dillon, he was invited, and then he was gonna go, and he talked about slaves, and then they told him not to come. And I don't even think that was because he was it was because they're like, don't talk about the slave stuff, because no, we're bringing slaves to the whole world. So shut up, put it, to saying to Tim Dillon, who told you he would do anything. He said, I would do anything, I would say anything, whatever they want. He's like, you're already gay. He's like, yeah, sure, you put, give me panda eyes, put me in the black eye club, I'd do anything. But he couldn't keep his mouth shut, and now everybody hates those comedians. And what are you gonna do? Like, it's not okay. We can't be okay with them taking the dirty Saudi money and just being like, oh, it's okay, we'll still watch Andrew Schultz. No, fuck Andrew Schultz. That sucker of Satan. That sucker of Saudi Satan's cock. What a filthy bastard. I wish I would have shit on Andrew Schultz more. He's never been funny anyway. Why is he funny? Joe Rogan told you so because he makes jokes about black people or something like that, and that's cool. Whatever. He's an I hate Andrew Schultz. He's a piece of shit. So yeah, that's sad. So Vision 2030 is look into what it means to the Saudis. I told you, I summarized it, but look into Vision 2030 if you want to. Maybe I'll do another video on it. Look into Agenda 2030. Watch the Plandopolis Megacities video. I did one years ago, but it's not up on my channel. It's either on Soften the Coffin's channel or Champion of Love's channel, which are linked on my homepage on Extreme Narcissism TV. If you want to see them with me making silly faces in the background of the Plandopolis Megacities video. But I would say just go watch the Plandopolis Megacities video without my interference. You can just see what they have planned for us, and it sucks. And it's like something like this. You have an option of 4 possible futures. Pick one. And they're all the same. It's all just living in different places in the same world that they're setting up. There's no choice. You can live in one of 4 different ways because that's the way they want everybody to live. Do you want to live in the smart city? Do you want to live in the wastelands? Do you want to live on the borders of the smart city and whatever the other one is? You want to be alpha, double plus, whatever. Yeah, I didn't know that, or I would have talked about it before. I did not know about Vision 2030 and Saudi Arabia, but now that I know about it, I talked about it, and it just means Agenda 2030. And so that means Agenda 2030 means all the things that Saudi Arabia does that the comedians weren't allowed to talk about, and that sucks. And the end.